Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we have a lot of money. That's a pretty good chunk of change right there. So, a new version of KSP just came out, 1.4.4. It's mostly a bug fix patch from what I can tell. I did get a warning that X Science is an unsupported version, but it seems to be working okay. So I guess we'll see how that goes. We do have 104.3 science right now. We can't really get anything with that, which is unfortunate because I would love to get nuclear propulsion. Unfortunately, we can't. So let's take a quick look here. What do we have? Orbital station around Kerbin, explore Kerbin, and plant flag on Minmus. Didn't we already do that? Well, we can do it again. That's not too bad. Science data from surface of Minmus. We'll take that, for sure. Satellite in a specific orbit of Moho. We'll take the satellite in specific order of Duna, probably? Well, it only has a duration of 25 years. We may not get that done, but we probably will. Let's see. Other than that, I think we're good as far as contracts go. So I think this tells us two things. One, we need to build a refueling station around Kerbin. And two, we need to land on Minmus again. Now, as far as our Moho adventures go, this is the start of a new play session, and over the last week, I was considering how I wanted to do this. So obviously, we do have our satellite currently around Moho, which is... Oh, is this an available contract? Because I don't think we actually have a contract for this. Specific orbit of Duna, sure. Yeah, this is just an available contract here. That's fine. So we're not going to be doing this. We do have this satellite around Moho. It's nearly equatorial, but that's fine. It's also completely out of fuel. There's nothing else we can do with this guy. So we're going to go ahead and leave this the way it's at. We're going to land on Minmus again for a quick boost of science. And then I think we're not going to bother trying to land a Kerbal on Moho. At least not yet. We do need to do a rover landing. So like an unmanned landing on Moho first. The question, of course, is, do we want it to be a rover, or do we want it to be a stationary science platform? Well, I don't know, and I think that's something we can put a pin in and come back to later. Hello, KSP. There you go. For a little bit you were underwater, but the KSC was. But that's okay. So let's go ahead and hop into here, and hello. Export craft to Steam. That's a new button. Okay. That's exciting. Some of these are, I think, scientifically new-ish. Mark 1-3? How's that different from the Mark 1 command pod? Let's see here. It weighs more. Is it the same size? No, it's a lot bigger. Okay. Just wanted to check that out. We are going to be doing the Snedgus Mark 5 lander, almost certainly, since we're going to Minmus. This will be plenty to get there. Now, one thing I do want to look at before we actually launch this guy is I want to take a quick look at the Odd One Mark III, which is, of course, the craft that we took to Moho. Now, if we're going to do a lander will be heavier than this satellite, for sure, and will require additional Delta V to get there, probably somewhere around an additional 2,000 to 3,000. So we should probably target something around a 15,000 total Delta V for that. And I just, hypothetically, I want to take a quick look. Decouple this. I'm not going to be saving this. I just want to see what quad coupling these initial boosters actually does. Not a ton is the answer. Good to know. Okay, So we're almost certainly going to need different tech to pull that off. That was pretty much expected. We're not going to save this. We're just going to go ahead and open up the Snedgus Mark V lander, and we're going to pop into the crew. And let's see here. Valentina was the one that landed on Minmus, correct? Yes. So we are going to be bringing Jeb. Absolutely. Now, we don't have space in this thing to bring along a scientist, which is a little unfortunate, but we're fine. Now, this thing was quite a bit of overkill to get to Minmus, so we're not going to be messing with it too much. So let's go ahead and launch this guy and head off towards Minmus, shall we? Now, I haven't tested MechJeb in this new version. Hopefully it didn't break horribly. That would suck. So let's go ahead and see here. I do want, ideally, let's see, are you Minmus? You're Minmus. I want to set you as target. Although we still want to focus over here on Kerbal. There we go. So with that set as target, did it not set? Minmus. Set as target. Okay. So, one thing that I'm a bit unclear about is why the orbital inclination doesn't like to work. What happens if I click current? I think that's just my current inclination. Let's see. Yeah, that's just the current inclination. And it cleared the target. Okay. Well, that's exciting. Well, I know that Minmus is inclined 6 degrees, and we've tried launching into 6 degrees before, so let's try just doing a negative 6 degree inclination. I want to check here, because I'm a little confused why MechJeb doesn't like launching us into the proper inclination here. And that doesn't help much, does it? Kind of a little saddened that it doesn't give us orbital characteristics there. It kind of should. I mean, we could check in here, although it's currently covered in all of the things. Okay. Flight Engineer, Delta V stats, get out of there. Locations, Celestial Bodies. Let's see here. Kerbal? Do we have to go here? This doesn't help either. Thanks, KSP. Well, I know it's 6 degrees, so let's try launching into negative 6 degrees, since 6 degrees didn't work previously. We should have plenty of Delta V to get there. So we'll go ahead and launch this. I don't really care too much about being launched into a transfer window. I'm more interested in just going into the orbital inclination that's correct. So I guess we'll find out if negative 6 is what MechJeb wants. Let's do this. Actually, let's double check our staging first. It should be fine. Yeah, that looks fine. Yep. Okay. And we're off. I mean, we probably could have launched a little later or earlier. One of the two. But we're fine. Okay, MechJeb. Please don't break because this is a new version of KSP. I would hate to have to do all these launches manually. It's just so obnoxious. The spinning is, you know, a nice touch. You quite finished with the spinning there, MechJeb? No? Okay. Well, it is increasing our inclination, which is interesting because it should be decreasing our inclination. Now it should stop the spinning, theoretically. Ish. Current inclination is about 4 degrees. So far, so good. We are approaching max Q right now. We are through max Q. Okay. So I think MechJeb is going to work fine on this new version. It kind of looks like. Theoretically. We're at about 5.5 degrees inclination, which is fine. And inclination is declining rapidly. What are you up to over there, MechJeb? We're down to about 4.5 degrees inclination, and it's starting to go back up. Okay. Very nice, MechJeb. Very, very nice. Well, let's just trust in MechJeb for now, and we'll see if it actually works. If -6 is what MechJeb wanted to hear to get +6. It's a little weird, but whatever. So we are moving a little bit slowly, but we're also a little low. Yeah, our apoapsis is pushing up. We have another 30 seconds of burn in this stage. But we are starting to get some pretty good atmospheric effects. I mean, that's kind of a good sign. Ish. Hopefully we don't explode. No overheat markers yet, so that's good. And our speed is going up very rapidly now. Yeah, our apoapsis height is going to be close to what we're targeting. But not quite. We are going to have to use our maneuver stage a little bit. Hopefully we don't die to these. Okay, we're fine. We are starting to get some overheat markers, but we're pushing up through the atmosphere, and we're going to stop actually getting any additional speed pretty soon. Our inclination is pretty close to 6 degrees as well, so I guess MechJeb just wants to hear -6 degrees to get 6 degree inclination. Good job, MechJeb. Maybe it's just because it's a bug, or maybe it's because it's a different version. We'll find out. Hello, Moon. We're not going to you. This is not our goal today. Our goal is, in fact, Minmus. And sending Jeb there. Valentina was really sad, actually. She pointed out that her contract stipulated that she gets to go to Minmus every time. But we just decided to ignore her contract because it was legally unenforceable, so sorry, Valentina. It's not going to be a thing. Well, we are officially in space now. We need another 300 delta V in order to fix this orbit, well, in order to fully orbit. And we should be pretty close to our inclination. Hopefully, we'll be matching the actual plane with Minmus. That would be excellent. And it looks like we're in the opposite inclination. Oh boy. I guess MechJeb just goes into the opposite inclination every time? Who knows? Anyway, we should be able to change our inclination easily enough. It won't be a problem. But man, I wish MechJeb would actually launch to plane of target. That would sure be convenient. I don't know, maybe I'll have to start doing that manually. It's just so annoying. I put in -6 and it put us to 6, and last time I remember I put in 6 and it put us to -6, and it was still opposite. Oh well, let's go ahead and get rid of that, and we are just going to pop open the maneuver planner. We are going to match planes with target. Create and execute. There we go. 400 delta V that we didn't need to burn. Lovely. Now we're going to keep our RCS as potential extra delta V. We could probably drop the RCS off of here, but it doesn't actually weigh that much, I don't think. So I think we're okay. This is going to be 400 delta V, which I really was hoping to not burn, but it'll be fine. We'll just change our ascending and descending nodes. I don't know, maybe I need to look into it and be like, why exactly is MechJeb unable to launch into plane of target? What am I doing wrong? I have to assume that MechJeb can actually do that. And also, stop warp. Or also stop stopping warp, X Science. Thank you very much. Oh, we're doing the maneuver all the way over there. Okay. Apparently it's immediately behind us that we're going to be doing this. Excellent. And because we're relatively low, we can't warp very quickly, so it'll take us a little bit to get there. That'll be fine. Okay, so we are going to be doing this maneuver very, very quickly, in fact. Well, not very, very quickly, but pretty much right about now. There we go. And that's just gonna burn off additional fuel. We didn't need it anyway. It'll be fine. We have so much fuel. Imagine when we convert this stage over to nuclear engines. It's gonna be so efficient. Like quad-coupled nuclear or something? I don't know. We'll need something along those lines in order to get to Duna, probably, but we're definitely going to land a Kerbal on Duna. Will we get them home? I don't know. They may become a colony. I'm not planning on landing a Kerbal on Moho, though. I'm planning on just doing a rover there, and then calling it a day on Moho. And then we'll see what's going on with Eve. Like, Gilly, we can probably pretty easily land a Kerbal on. Eve, the question is, can we get it home? And the answer is probably not. We're going to go ahead and home and transfer to target. Create that node. Okay, Minmus. We need to adjust our home and transfer. Be a little less on the fuel. That'll be pretty decent. That's a decent apoapsis. Absolutely. Execute that node. Let's see what that does. So yeah, as far as Moho goes, I feel like landing a Kerbal there, it's too hot. Kerbals don't like heat. We haven't invented air conditioning yet, so I think that we just don't send a Kerbal to Moho, and probably not to Eve either. The atmosphere of Eve is so thick that getting a Kerbal home would be nigh to impossible. We'll send a Kerbal to Gilly, absolutely, but I think Eve and Moho will just land a rover on, and then we'll send a Kerbal to Duna, as well as its moons. As far as Dress goes, we'll probably send a Kerbal there as well. And then all of the moons of Jewel, well, we'll send a probe to crash into Jewel and get what data we can. That's for sure. Of course, we can't land on Jewel because it's a gas giant, but all of these moons we may be able to land on and get home from. Lathe is definitely the one that we want to land on the most, though, because it's awesome. The question, of course, is, can we also get home from any of these? And I don't know the answer. As far as Elu goes, this guy's really, really far out there. Really far. So, again, I don't know if we're going to be able to get home from that one. But I guess we'll find out. But for now, we're just going to Minmus. Okay, that is enough of looking at Elu. We're going to, that didn't work, did it? That didn't work at all. Hang on. Okay, back to Moho. Now we can go back to Kerbin, maybe. Let's just abort that node execution. Minmus. Excellent. Okay. Throttle up. We're burning prograde. We're doing it manually. Excellent. I really messed that one up. Oh well. This is fixable. This is fixable. We'll be out to Minmus orbit soon. Ish. Okay, we need to slow it down. Okay. Good enough. I mean, we could burn retrograde a little bit and clean up this orbit slightly. I don't want to burn too much though. So let's just see how this is going to work. It's going to take some extremely minute adjustments. Like, incredibly minute. We want to be landing on basically the other side of where Valentina misspelled here. Because we want to be landing somewhere with fresh science. Ooh, that was too much. That was too much. We'll do one more burn. Okay, we'll do one more. Okay. We're good. We're good. Just spamming Shift X. Throttle up slightly, instantly cut throttle. Perfect. Okay, we are coming in on this side, so that's fine. We're going to go ahead and warp here. And off we go. And then we're just going to do a simple circularization at the next periapsis up here. I could do it manually, but MechJeb makes it faster, so that's why I prefer to use MechJeb, because I'm lazy. We will be here momentarily, and here we are. Create and execute. Fantastic. So we are going to have some Delta V left over. Once again, fantastic. On the way down, we may burn some of our monopropellant, but we have so much Delta V in this lander. I don't think we need to. Minmus requires almost no Delta V to maneuver in. Like, seriously, 150 meters per second to cut speed? That's insane. Very, very little amounts. Okay, so we could do a mystery goo observation, but we already have some science from that. The majority of science from that. So I think we will not do that. And in fact, we're pretty close to where we want to land. So maybe we just cut all vertical or all horizontal speed right now. Let's open up the flight engineer here and let's go to horizontal velocity minus, which we're basically at right now, and let's just cut our horizontal speed right now. 100 meters per second. 50. 3 meters per second. 2. 1 meter per second. Once again, very tiny adjustments. Okay, good enough. 33 meters per second. Surface velocity minus is now what we go to. Our surface velocity is quite low. In fact, let's stick at horizontal velocity minus. We are moving at about 10 millimeters per second. No. Surface velocity minus, definitely. Okay, so we do have 204 meters per second left in this thing. Let's see here. Vessel is, I think, what we want for the suicide burn. Yes, it is. Let's get rid of our orbital characteristics. We no longer need that. 145 delta V for the suicide burn currently. So we have enough in this tank to suicide burn. Let's just... Are we currently going up? No, we're going down. Okay. For a second it wouldn't let me select over here. But let's go ahead and warp a little bit closer to the surface so that our suicide burn distance is a little closer. There we go. And then we'll burn off this tank. We should probably extend our landing struts immediately. Like so. And then we'll just warp ahead a little bit. We'll suicide burn to about 2,000 meters, I think. Although, it's looking a little close. Maybe we'll suicide burn at 3,000 meters. It's not really a suicide burn at that point, but we have plenty in the tank. No, I think 2,000 will be fine. We're not moving very quickly. There we go. And we'll just burn this off. There we go. We can probably ditch this stage at this point. I mean, we are still 2,000 meters up. 2 kilometers, I mean. Our current horizontal speed is about a meter per second, which is not super ideal. We're going to do another burn at about 1,000 meters. I mean, we could do a bit riskier of suicide burns, but we have so much fuel that I don't feel it's necessary. So we'll just fight gravity on the way down. It's not a big deal. So we'll burn again right around 1 kilometer. There we go. And then let's just go ahead and ditch this stage. We've only got 95 meters per second left. So there we go. That's now out of here. And then we will suicide burn at about 100 meters again. So right about, well, here in a bit. This will probably get out of the way, hopefully, when it lands before us, because it will land so significantly before us, because we're going to kill our speed momentarily. 200, 100, now. There we go. And there it goes out of the way. Perfect. Okay, down to 4 meters per second, and let's just fight gravity at this point. Right about here. This is good. Slowly decelerating, and landing at about 3 meters per second. I like it. And then we'll cut engines now. We want to be aiming up. And we did bounce a little bit, but we're going to settle in right about here. Excellent. Nice landing. Okay, Jeb. First things first, crew report from the Midlands. Temperature scan. Atmospheric pressure scan. Mystery goo observation. And materials study. And we're going to grab all of that in our storage unit. And then Jeb, we'll go ahead and hop out. EVA report. Surface sample. Turn on your RCS. Let go. And gently float down to the surface. Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here while Jeb is roaming around the surface. And next episode, we'll plant our flag and head on home. See you all then.